Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we're going to do another round of topic parkour where we're going to go from topic to topic, concisely covering various stories that I've gotten largely from Twitter over the past couple of days that I think you guys will be interested in. So we're going to begin with Sony. There's been a lot of talk about Sony recently, especially with all the DEI type initiatives they've been forcing onto various video games and developers. But a lot of people are forgetting that there's another very important aspect of Sony that a lot of people are forgetting about. And that's the fact that they have a hyper focus on anime style games, but in particular, anime itself as well. And their influence on that has never been stronger because people continue to forget that Sony now owns Crunchyroll. They have a direct influence on Crunchyroll, which is basically the monopoly of anime streaming services right now. So they have a big influence. And this article right here is sharing some concerning developments involving Sony Crunchyroll. Now, this is kind of surprising, as wild as this might be. It's been out for about 2 weeks and not many people are talking about this. So Sony is going to launch an academy to nurture anime creators in global markets. Sony Group Corporation announced on Tuesday during its annual corporate strategy presentation that it will launch an academy to develop talent to create anime. The academy will aim to nurture anime creators in global markets, mainly by Aniplex and Crunchyroll, with collaboration across the industry. Anytime you're hearing anything like global markets, you should be pretty concerned. Nobody wants, no true anime fan or video game fan or what have you, wants their creators tailoring themselves for a global market, because that sounds a lot like global audience or modern audience that we keep hearing about from places like Sony and other DEI initiatives. And the products that come out of that are absolutely dreadful. Those initiatives are only for woke people and mainly screechers on Twitter who want to change things that they have no real interest in the first place. But this is the kind of stuff we're talking about. I'm sure this person right here is very ready for the nurturing of anime creators. So this tweet managed to get over 30,000 likes recently saying this: trying to watch an anime from the 2000s, but there's too much incest, pedo jokes, blackface, transphobia, homophobia, fat jokes, stuff about Hitler for some reason, and essay jokes. 32,000 likes. Maybe have you considered that anime is just not for you? And also, let's keep this in mind. This entire list of complaints about anime from the 2000s would be applicable to basically any form of media across the board, and singling out anime as some special and extra problematic thing is, well, typical Twitter behavior. But look at some of the people agreeing with this. This user replying saying this: started watching Full Metal and I was not prepared for the racism. Dear God. They're canceling Full Metal in the year 2024. I think my head's gonna explode. But there is one good result in the situation. Another group of tourists have been filtered. And that is the best thing that anime has ever really done when it comes to gatekeeping. That is self-gatekeeping, okay? The content for a long time has produced its own self-gatekeeping effect, keeping people away. And that's why this push towards modern audiences and censoring things is concerning, because it's weakening the gatekeeping effect of anime, and it's allowing a bunch of screechers to have more influence on what's being produced and how things are being censored and distributed to audiences generally. And that should concern you. So gatekeeping people, very positive thing, especially when they're trying to change your hobbies and mediums. But now moving on to Netflix. We have a couple of developments involving Netflix, both involving, well, anime ? So here's the first one. A lot of people are talking about this headline. So Netflix has announced an American live-action adaptation of Kakegurui. Story below here. So this is the cast of the upcoming Kakegurui live-action adaptation. I can say the obvious here. They don't look a lot like the cast of the anime. That's for sure. Which, of course, in American live-action, I guess that's what they're going for. Really, the main question is, why? Why are they doing this? And it's reflected in a lot of the comments. Here's the top comments saying, huh? No one asked for this. And this comic here saying, that's a nice IP you have there. It would be a pity if someone dedicated or decided to make an adaptation. That is always a terrifying thing. Netflix in particular making a live action adaptation. Overall in their history, they seem to be improving, at least with the One Piece adaptation. At least that's a step in the right direction. But historically, Netflix live action adaptations of anime are dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. Like cursed level of dreadful. So when you hear that a series is getting that, you should be concerned and pity those who enjoy that IP. But here's another comment saying, so how will they deal with the fact that in Kakegurui, you become an actual slave if you lose hard enough? And this comment is definitely pretty accurate to the lore of this franchise. In fact, for years and years, a lot of journalists, including feminists, were trying to cancel this franchise because of some of these aspects of the story. So here's an article, an example of this, saying, those who can't quite cut it form the lowest of the low, the house pets of the school. They have corresponding collars and tags so that no matter what, no one forgets who and what they are. Now, given the cast that we just saw for the live action, they might want to be careful who they are assigning as house pets and putting leashes on and things like that, you know, subjugating. I'm just saying, like, if they thought it was bad in the anime, oh boy, they're going to get canceled depending on who they put in that situation for the live action. Like, it's one of those things, like, so woke, it's going to end up being offensive to people. Like, we see this all the time. But moving on to some more Netflix-related news, like I said, more anime news, question mark. So it was announced that there is a Tomb Raider anime that will be released in October on Netflix. A Tomb Raider anime. I don't know if you can hear that. That's me scratching my head. That's a bit confusing. You know, you can see from the comments, people are also confused, saying anime, in parentheses, Tomb Raider anime, look inside. Western animation style from Austin, Texas. We need a new word for Western animation. Another dope anime that will take Netflix 4 years to release a second season. That's also true. But yeah, this is kind of weird. They just seem like they're basically calling anything that's a Western-styled, Western-produced comic or animation style, and they're just slapping anime onto it, which I think is for an obvious reason. Like, anime is growing at a great rates and becoming more and more global, and attaching anime and labeling something as anime is typically going to be a benefit. So I think I know why they're doing this, but still, it's kind of confusing and seems like, again, they're like basically trend hopping by labeling this an anime. But moving on to another somewhat different set of topics to end this video. So this was something I thought was interesting, coming out of Twitch. Reportedly, they are terminating all members of its Safety Advisory Council, which, great. Rare Twitch W, okay? Nothing that sounds like this has ever been a good thing, okay? We all know this, and the janitors like this are a waste of time, okay? They're power hungry, they're annoying, and typically the types of people representing movements like this are the most annoying and woke people you'll ever see. Who can forget one of the earliest members of this safety council? I forget this person's name, but this was a thing back in 2020. It feels like this is ancient history. It was only a few years ago where one of the people on this council was someone who identified as a deer. They identified as a deer and live on stream had what they described as a deergasm. Yeah, I said the word. I actually said that. I feel like I need to go brush my teeth or rinse out my mouth with something after saying that. But that was something that really happened. This was one of their earliest hires for this whole movement. And yeah, it was a disaster back then. People were clowning on this. nonstop, and rightfully so, because this was an absolute clown show. And also, of course, you could probably predict this person hated gamers, and yet was supposed to be the safety council for gamers. It was an absolute joke. But look at the timing. I mean, this is like 2 months into COVID, so it hit some people a little bit harder back then. Like, they lost their sanity extra hard when COVID hit and they were locked indoors. But anyways, here is the last story I wanted to share for this video. Some pretty cool news, honestly. So, after 6 years, MrBeast has avenged PewDiePie. Yeah, you guys remember the T-Series versus PewDiePie stuff? That was a pretty funny arc in the overall setting of YouTube. Well, now MrBeast has taken on his legacy and passed T-Series all alone. And honestly, great. You know, say what you want about MrBeast. At the end of the day, he seems like a pretty decent guy, and also someone whose content, whether you like it or not, at least benefits people and does good things for the world. And he's someone who actually uses his money and influence in a positive way. And I am very glad to have someone like him be the representative as the biggest YouTube channel, as opposed to someone like T-Series, who is basically everything wrong with YouTube, right? Like, they're a giant conglomerate. They exist to basically monopolize Indian media under one channel, and all for the sake of generating revenue and keeping it for themselves. I mean, it's a really stark contrast between MrBeast and T-Series, and he has now passed T-Series and is the most subscribed to channel on all of YouTube. And I believe he's getting something like 1 to 2 million subs a day, which is absolutely insane. I don't care how big you get. That is a flabbergasting number of subscribers to get on a daily basis, but it's much deserved when it comes to MrBeast. But for now, that is going to do it for this video. A little recap of some events that have been happening over the past couple of days. So as always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.